Did you ever want to become a judge?
You know, I was approached actually when I was at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and a lot of my former colleagues are judges now. And I have been since approached and said, "Listen, you should think about this." And it's a powerful position. It's a powerful position. Some of them are lifetime appointments, right? Um, it's something I think about. I can't say that I don't think about it, um, but I have a lot of work to do. And I want to do it in a way that it affects systemically. I want to affect systemic change. And I'm not so sure that I can do that in that space. And it's interesting because I almost left CNN before joining The View to uh, become a DA, but the head of an office, right? And I was going back and forth, like, do I do that or do I go to The View? And a producer basically said to me, who's a friend, said, being a DA or being in the front office at the DA's office is amazing, but you'll be speaking to 3 million people every single day. Um, what better way to make change? And I didn't really believe it then. I was like, it's just a talk show. But um, that was 5 years ago. And it's incredible now, the reach of even, one day on this show. It's incredible. I mean, I've met presidents. I've gotten phone calls on my cell phone from future presidents. And I don't know that that would happen as someone running a local district attorney's office, and I don't know that that would happen as someone, uh, you know, as a federal judge. I get to have an audience with Justice Sotomayor. I don't know that that would happen in another line of work. So I'm just not ready for it yet.
The View, this season is you guys' 25th season,
Hmm.
and it, I actually thought you had been on The View longer than just since
Yeah.
2016. I was like, it feels like
Hmm.
you have really been there for a while, and I mean that in a good way. That you're
Thank
you're part of the
you.
legacy and the institution. Why do you think The View became such a mainstay in not just television culture, but just in our
Yeah.
culture? Period.
Yeah. I think that Barbara Walters had this idea that at the time was groundbreaking, but we now know it wasn't really so groundbreaking, of women talking about really serious topics. Republicans like to call them kitchen table, well, not Republicans, but politicians, kitchen table topics. But women have been really the heads of our families for a really long time, right? We've been sort of keeping it down at home, and we do think about these really tough topics that affect our lives and affect the lives of the country. And she just thought, what about this sort of multi-generational discussion? Women from different backgrounds, different ages, just sitting down and talking, and let's give the world a bird's eye view into it. And it's genius when you think about it. And you add into it different races, right? Different experiences, and it's sustainable. And I think now, today, it's even more important because the show has morphed. I think before the topics were lighter. I think 10 years ago, this probably would not have been a great show for someone like me, because I would have found it a little, it would have bored me a little bit, because I do think about what's going on, globally. I do think about um, politics a lot. I do think about systemic racism. I think about the world, and I think the New York Times called us the most important political show in America a couple of years ago, because of, what was going on in our country. And it's the perfect time for women, informed women, to discuss things right now. And I can't imagine that won't be the case. But there have been so many other shows that have tried to duplicate it, and it hasn't worked. I'm not sure why it hasn't worked, but I think it's the formula, because we don't know what each other is going to say. We just get the topic, just like you just did to me, Jemele. We just decide on a topic and we just go at it. And so it's never really highly produced. And I think maybe some of the other shows produce what people are going to say. And so when you're hearing us and you're seeing our reaction, we are really reacting to the stuff. The guests don't know what we're going to ask. And I think that's part of where the magic is.
Of course, as everyone knows, you all had a recent departure. Meghan McCain left the show.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
since then, you guys have been rotating different voices. They're
Yeah.
mostly been conservative voices, because it seems like there's a desire to feel that viewpoint on the show.
Yeah.
Number one, do you think you all need a permanent replacement to take that fifth chair?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. And people are like, why? It is surprising to me how many people in the country really do feel that way, right? I think that there is a portion of the country that has become really extreme. And we can't ignore it. And a lot of it is based on misinformation that's spread on social media. Unfortunately, I mean, if you look at the stats, something like 70% of Americans get their news, in quotations, on Facebook, right? And so when you have that kind of misinformation going around, I do think that you need to be, and we're in the news division on the View. I think we need to have that perspective, not the misinformation part, but I think we need to have someone that has that conservative view, whatever conservative means, because I've been asking people, well, you say you're conservative, what does that mean? Some of our guests that have come on the show, I've been asking them during our Hot Topics meeting, and they haven't really been able to explain it to my liking. But I think we need to have that discussion on air for the rest of the country. And we just don't have it, but it has to be done respectfully. And I think that's where we were missing the mark before, right? We were getting personalities were getting in the way. If it can be done respectfully, which was Barbara's vision, then I think it really needs to be done. We haven't found it yet, obviously. Ergo the rotating chairs, but we need to have it. I mean, I remember when I was first, auditioning, Barbara pulled me aside and she said, you're really good at this. Always remember, when you have a guest here, it's like somebody coming to your house at dinner. You may not like them, but you treat them like a guest in your home. And that's how I think the discussion should always be, never too off the chain. And I think where we went wrong is that it wasn't the respectful exchange of ideas all the time as it should be.
Well, it's interesting because I struggle to find conservatives that I actually would listen to, and just whereas before, because the party has become so extreme. How much of a challenge then is it now to find that voice that you're talking about with a party that is just off the rails? It's one thing if you disagree about maybe immigration or something, but it's always usually some bullshit that you just can't really, I can't even wrap my mind around it, where I'm like, I can't even see that point because it's so fucking stupid. So it's just, so I'm wondering, how do you find this magical conservative sort of balanced voice in a party of extremism, in the party of Donald Trump?
It's been really hard. I'll be honest with you. What I said to our executive producer is that And he knows that I'm really, and you know this about me, Jemele, I'm an open-minded person. You know, I'm pretty fair and balanced. And I've been friends with a lot of the conservatives that have been on our show. It can't be anyone that is espousing misinformation, right? Because I just think it's just too dangerous. So it can't be anyone that is, espousing the big lie. It can't be anyone espousing anti-vax notions.
So you've already knocked out 70% of them right there. But go
well,
ahead.
I have.
Yeah,
right?
you have. Yeah.
It can't be anyone that is espousing anything that is racist, homophobic, xenophobic. And unfortunately, because of the extremists in the party, and people aren't going to want to hear this, that really narrows the field. It can't be anyone that's saying that critical race theory is taught in kindergarten. Like, it can't be any of those people. But I hope that they're out there, and I hope that we can find them. You know, if there's someone that's just saying, I can't even think of an example. Let's say someone is saying, I believe that kneeling is disrespectful to the flag, and Colin Kaepernick was disrespectful to the flag, and he wasn't a good enough football player anyway. And then I respond by saying, okay, you're entitled to that opinion, but you do know that there are others that think that he was a better player and is a better player than those that are in the league now that are playing, right. And that there was a settlement, and that other, the owners likely colluded to keep him out of the league. And that's kind of racist, isn't it? He was kneeling for social justice, and then you can have that sort of free exchange of ideas. If they can do that, I'm cool. And I think my co-hosts would be cool.